It affirmed that the fourth impeachment complaint transmitted to the Senate on February 5, 2025 was already barred by Article 11, Section 3, Subsection 5 of the Constitution. Associate Justice Alfredo Benjamin Caguioa took no part. Associate Justice Maria Filomena Singh was on leave. The court clarified the following points. First, the first three impeachment complaints filed in accordance with the first mode of initiating an impeachment, that is, Article 11, Section 3, Subsection 2, were not placed in the order of business within the required 10 session days. Session days as used in Article 11, Section 3, Subsection 2, or for purposes of the first mode of initiating an impeachment complaint, does not mean legislative session days. A session day for purposes of Article 11 in the Constitution was given its plain and ordinary sense, which the court interprets to mean a calendar day in which the House of Representatives holds a plenary session. Second, the court reiterated Gutierrez versus House of Representatives. However, it further elaborated that an impeachment complaint filed in accordance with the first mode of impeachment, which is Article 11, Section 3, Subsection 2, is deemed initiated for purposes of the one-year bar in Article 11, Section 3, Subsection 5 when a properly verified and endorsed impeachment complaint is referred to the Committee on Justice. B. A properly verified and endorsed impeachment complaint is not placed in the order of business of the House within 10 session days, or referred to the Committee on Justice after it has been put in the order of business within 3 session days, as required by Article 11, Section 3, Subsection 2 of the Constitution. Or C. No articles of impeachment are transmitted to the Senate before the House adjourns sine die. This means that the initiation of an impeachment complaint must occur during the term of Congress. Third, the court affirmed the power of the House of Representatives to promulgate its own rules on impeachment. However, it clarified that Section 2 of the House Rules, as it is currently worded, requires the referral to the Committee on Justice, even when it is filed through the second mode. The second mode is provided in Article 11, Section 3, Subsection 4 of the Constitution, where the endorsement of at least one-third of the members of the House of Representatives would be sufficient to transmit the articles of impeachment. In view of the current wording of Section 2 of the Rules on Impeachment, as drafted and promulgated by the House in its 19th and 20th Congress, the House may, optionally, upon its own prerogative, refer an impeachment complaint already endorsed by at least one-third of all its members to the Committee on Justice, but only for the following purposes. Number 1, to ensure that the endorsement of the members of the House is verified. Number 2, to confirm that the evidence supporting the grounds in the complaint exists and that every member of the House has been given a copy of the complaint, as well as the evidences supporting it. And 3, to respect the committee's prerogative to consolidate different formulations of the complaint, if any, so that only one complaint is endorsed to the plenary for transmittal to the Senate. The court observed that there is a fundamental difference between the first and second modes of initiating impeachment complaints. Thus, it said, and I quote, Article 11, Section 3, subsections 2 and 3 cover the first mode of initiating an impeachment complaint. Article 11, Section 3, subsection 4 covers the second mode of initiating an impeachment complaint. In the first mode, impeachment is initiated through the regular and deliberative process in the House of Representatives. A verified complaint may be filed either by a member of the House or by a private citizen with the endorsement of a member. Upon filing, the complaint is referred to the House Committee on Justice, which evaluates its sufficiency in form and substance and conducts the appropriate hearings. Only after favorable committee action does the impeachment process proceed further. This mode, therefore, emphasizes institutional screening and committee review. By contrast, subsection 4 introduces an alternative and a more direct mechanism for initiating impeachment. Under this provision, a verified complaint or resolution of impeachment signed by at least one-third of all the members of the House of Representatives immediately initiates impeachment proceedings. These provisions reflect a deliberate constitutional design. Subsections 2 and 3 provide a structured and committee-directed approach, while subsection 4 allows a streamlined initiation when a sufficient level of consensus already exists. Fourth, the court affirmed that due process of law applies to the impeachment process. It stated, and I quote, "The phrase right to life, liberty, or property should not be read with undue literalism. It must be accorded reasonable flexibility to achieve its intent of protecting inherent and inalienable rights that could not have been exhaustively articulated at the time of its framing." The Due Process Clause embodies a fundamental constitutional commitment to reasonableness, fairness, and non-arbitrariness. It envisions that we cannot have a true democratic and republican or representative state that is arbitrary and unfair. However, due process as it applies to the impeachment process is sui generis or in a class of its own. Full-blown trial happens at the Senate. At least for the second mode of initiating an impeachment complaint, it only requires 1. The grounds invoked in the complaint or resolution are those contained in Article 11, Section 2 of the Constitution. Number 2. The procedure is governed by the rules on impeachment promulgated by the House prior to any filing of any impeachment complaint. 3. As already provided by the current House rules on impeachment, all endorsing members should have been given a copy of the complaint and all its supporting evidence. The court also noted that the transmittal of the articles of impeachment should be done in a plenary session of the House, providing all the members of the House with full copies of the complaint and its accompanying evidence mentioned in Rule 4, Section 14 of the House Rules on Impeachment. Transmittal to the Senate, however, requires only a vote of one-third of its members for the first mode of initiating a complaint, or proof of the endorsement of a complaint by one-third of its members for the second mode. Fifth, the operative fact doctrine cannot be invoked by the party directly responsible in the commission of an unconstitutional act. Thus, it does not apply in this case. Finally, the court noted all the motions for intervention and pleadings filed by individuals who were not parties to the case. This resolution is immediately executory upon digital service on all parties in accordance with AM number 25-05-16-SC or the guidelines on the transition to electronic filing in the Supreme Court. No further pleadings will be allowed. The resolution on the motion for reconsideration and the separate opinions are being uploaded and served on the parties. Thank you very much.
Sa inyong lahat, maraming salamat po. Nandito po kayo. Yung mga questions po ninyo, kay Attorney Danao na lang po siya na lang po sasagot. Maraming salamat and God bless us all.
Pinahal po namin is isang criminal case po dahil sa paglabag ng Section 8A RA 9160 na naamendihan ng RA 11521. Ang sinasabi po sa batas ay bawal po na isiwalat ng AMLAC kahit anong informasyon na nalakap nila sa mga bangko. So yun po yung sinasandigan namin, yung Section 8A po ng RA 9160.
Sir, ano naman ang conclusion they have the power daw ang Congress ng subpoena power?
Teka lang. So, kung babasahin po natin yung batas na yon, na-amendahan siya noong 2021, RA 11521. Inamendahan ng RA 9160. So, 2021 po, yung batas na yan, pinatupad po ng Kongreso, di ba? So, ang batas, bago maging batas, pinag-uusapan, di ba, sa House, sa Senado. So, kung meron silang gustong exception doon sa batas na yon, dapat nilagay nila. Ang Section 8A po ay malinaw. Nasabi ron, the AMLAC and its secretariat shall not in any way disclose any information in any manner. So anong ibig sabihin ng in any manner? Sa kahit na anong pamaraan, hindi pwedeng maglabas ng informasyon ang AMLAC. So kung gusto nilang may exception doon, dapat Kongreso mismo nagsabi na except number A. Except, number 2. Wala eh. Basahin po natin, Section 8A. At ang buong AMLA na batas, wala pong exception.
Attorney, bakit kasama sa mga sinampahan ng reklamo yung mga kongresista mula sa Liberal at Bayan?
Hindi naman dahil sa liberal or bayan sila. Dahil, kung makikita po natin ang nangyari sa Kongreso, sa House Committee on Justice, sila po yung nag-udyok na ilabas. Di ba? Sila yung nag-motion, sila yung nag-second motion, at pinirmahan yung sabpina. Na dahil dun sa pinirmahan ng sabpina, nilabas naman ng AMLAC. So, yun po yung kaso namin. Kung sino man po ang lahat nung may kinalaman sa paglalabas ng mga informasyon daw, tungkol daw sa mga bond transaction na ito, ay dapat managot. Yun lang naman ang sinasabi ng aming kliyente sa Atty. Carpio. Kung ano sinasabi sa batas, dapat sundin natin. Kung nilabag mo, ano gagawin mo pag nilabag? Di ba? Kasuhan ng kaso. Ito na po yun. Tera. Ano po yun?
Do you maintain na wala pong wrongdoing doon sa 6.7 billion daw sa account po nila Sir Manasseh?
Ay, ang kaso namin na sinampa rito, hindi po ang issue ron yung totoo o hindi. Diba? Ang sinampa namin kaso tama ba na ginawa ng AMLAC na magpalabas daw ng mga transaction reports? Diba? Ngayon, kung sinasabing totoo o hindi po dito sa fiscal na dapat nasagutin yon. Siguro baka dapat sa impeachment court. Diba? Hindi naman po parte ng impeachment si Atty. Carpio. Pinipilit po siya na madawit sa impeachment na pribadong individual. Diba? Hindi naman porket may akusasyon ka o meron kang hinanaing sa isang tao, pwede ka nang gumawa ng labag sa batas. Pwede ka nang gumawa ng illegal. Diba? Para saan pa ang mga batas natin na pinasa ng Kongreso mismo kung hindi natin tutuparin, kung hindi natin susundin. Diba? Hindi ba parang awkward, diba? Mambabatas ka, pero hindi mo sinusunod ang batas.
May confirmation ba sir dun sa billions of pesos na laman ng bank account?
Ang problema kasi hindi naman kami binigyan ng kopya nung sinasabi ng AMLAC. Kayo ba binigyan? Nakita nyo ba yung mga galing sa bangko na reports? Diba? Kasi kung kami magkokomento, dapat makita namin kung ano ba yung sinasabi ng bangko. Hindi yung sinasabi lang ng AMLAC. Diba? Kasi parang sinasabi nito ganito. Parang mahirap yata mag-comment sa isang bagay na hindi mo naman ikaw mismo nakita. Di ba? Pero pag nakita namin yan, sa tamang panahon, tamang paraan, aming sasagutin.
Sir, walang consent. Walang consent.
Walang consent. In fact, sumulat pa nga kami sa AMLAC April 16 bago maglabas ng sabpina na sinasabi namin, AMLAC, bawal yan ang sinasabing magpalabas ka ng impormasyon. So nagparating kami sa AMLAC na binabalaan sila. Pero ganun pa rin, walang nangyari.
Sir, reaction lang, sabi ni Senator Laila De Lima, hindi daw covered ng prohibitions ng bank secrecy law ang impeachment.
Kasi ang bank secrecy law, di ba, RA 1405. 1955 pa yan na batas. May exceptions nga doon, sinasabi niya, di ba? Pero itong sinasabi naming batas na kanilang nilabag, 2021 na batas.
Amending?
Hindi. Bagong batas to ng AMLA. Etong batas na to, ang nag-create sa AMLA. So, dahil nga meron silang maraming kapangyarihan, minabuti ng Kongreso na bigyan din ng limitasyon. Diba? Kasi sabi nga sa Spider-Man, diba? With great powers comes great responsibility. Diba? So, kung meron kang ganung power, meron din mga limitasyon ng Kongreso. At ang limitasyon na yon, ang AMLA, hindi sila pwedeng basta-basta lang magpalabas ng mga informasyon. So, in any manner nga, basahin yung Section 8A.
So, sir, kahit mag-proceed ito sa Senado na tatayong impeachment court, you're saying na hindi rin to allowed na ilabas yung mga bank transactions and bank records ng Vice at ni Sir Carpio?
Hindi, ang sinasabi namin, yung AMLA, bawal maglabas ang AMLA ng kahit anong impormasyon. Ngayon, kung gusto lang usisain yung mga bank reports, bank information, meron namang paraan sa batas. Diba? Pero ang sinasabi namin, yung AMLA mismo, hindi pwede maglabas ng kahit anumang impormasyon na nakuha nila galing sa mga bangko. Ngayon, nasa batas naman kung paano legal na paraan para kumuha ng bank information. Nasa batas din naman yon. Pero ang sinasabi lang namin, AMLA mismo, ang Kongreso mismo nagsasabi, bawal ka AMLA. Bawal ka maglabas ng kahit anong informasyon.
Sir, for the record po, hindi po tayo maglalabas din ng yung AMLA report sa Senate na sa impeachment court.
Hindi naman kami talagang hindi naman kayo pwede maglabas eh. Kasi ang AMLA, siya ang dapat na maglabas ng impormasyon. Diba? Ang AMLA kasi, kung titignan yung batas, ang AMLA ay ginawa para sa money laundering. Diba? Para siya mag-imbestiga ng mga money laundering acts. Ngayon, hindi mo po pwede namang gawin na wala ka namang money laundering na fina-file, tapos magsisiwalat ka ng mga impormasyon. Yun ang pinapahintulot na ayaw ng batas. Na sinasabi ng batas, bawal yan, pwede kang makulong 8 years. Okay? Kaya, kung susundin natin ng batas, wala sanang problema. Wala sana to eh. Diba? Kumuha sila ng bank inquiry order. Nasa batas naman yan. Pwede sila mag-apply sa CA. Diba? E di, kung sundin natin ang batas, wala namang maagrabyado.
Sir, Sir, is it correct to say na you neither admit nor deny the financial disclosures dun sa nilabas ng AMLAC during the
Kaya una-una, sinasabi ko nga, paano namin madi-deny o ma-admit yung mga sinasabing transaction kung hindi naman kami binigyan ng kopya ng AMLAC at hindi naman namin kami binibigyan ng kopya ng mga reports kung saan galing ang summary ng AMLAC. Pero in my, sa pag-uusap namin ni Atty. Carpio, he vehemently denies having 6 billion ba yun o 3 billion? He vehemently denies that.
Pero sir, wouldn't it be prudent for the Vice President and her camp as well, including you if possible, to answer those charges in the House impeachment hearing?
Ayokong pangunahan ng mga abogado ni VP Sara, no? Kasi meron siyang sariling abogado. Pero sa parte ni Atty. Carpio, dahil nga pribadong individual naman siya, na pilit na sinasama sa impeachment, hindi kami po parte ng impeachment proceeding. Diba? Hindi namin kailangan na sagutin ang mga sinasabi nila Attorney De Lima, sila Congressman Luistro, di ba? Kasi hindi naman kami parte ng impeachment proceeding eh. Kaya kami nagtataka, bakit pilit na sinasama kami sa impeachment proceeding, di ba? 2006 hanggang 2025. Di ba? Yun ang covered ng subpoena. Di ba? Hindi naman siya politiko, si Atty. Carpio. Di ba? So kayo kung nasa lugar niya, kayo na simpleng tao lang, di ba? Bigla na lang lumabas ang kaluluwa nyo, diba? Since birth, hindi ba kayo aalma? Kasi may batas naman na bawal.
Pero sir, yung allegation na tumanggap ang pamilya ng bisin ng pera mula kay Samuel Uy, alam ba yon ni Atty. Carpio? Does he have a knowledge kung may mga ganong pagpasok ng pera, ng deposits?
Unang-una, sinasabi ko nga, I think Atty. Carpio will not be in a position to answer those questions. Kasi nga, hindi naman siya parte ng impeachment proceeding at unang-una, sinasabi, transaction yun ni VP Sara, allegedly. Diba? So I think the lawyers of VP Sara can adequately answer that. And I think they have, no? They have denied it through Attorney Michael Powa. I think na-monitor nyo naman yun, yung mga statements ni Attorney Mike Powa at yung mga abogado nila kay Fortune Narbasa.
Sir, ano yun? Si VP Sara lang ang may hawak ng bank accounts na yun. Walang ginagalaw doon si Atty. Carpio.
Yung nga, hindi nga rin namin masabi nga kasi una-una sabi ko nga, maraming mga accounts, iba-iba naman ang accounts, di ba? Lahat naman siguro tayo iba-ibang accounts, hindi lang isa. So, hanggat sinasabi ng AMLAC na mabigyan kami ng kopya kung saan nanggaling ang mga sinasabi nilang mga summary of transactions, di ba? Mahirap mag-speculate, di ba? Hindi pwede mag-speculate sa isang bagay na hindi mo naman alam kung ano talaga yung specific transaction na sinasabi nila.
Sir,
I think that should be properly addressed by the lawyers of VP Sara, no?
Sir, last hearing, pinospone ng mga lawmakers yung pagbukas ng BIR records of Atty. Carpio and Vice President Sara Duterte. And I understand Atty. Carpio's another petition questioning that move. I mean, yung pagsubmit.
Yung sa
records.
BIR?
Yes po. Ngayong April 29, pagdedesisyonan daw kung bubuksan o hindi. Ano po yung comment natin dun sa...
Well, unang-una, sumagot ng OSG dun sa petisyon na sinampa namin sa RTC para pigilin, no, yung paglabas ng mga annual tax returns na yon, no. At ang nangyari na-monitor din namin na sinelyuhan naman, no, ng BIR Commissioner. Ngayon, kung alam mo na may kaso, di ba? At alam na nila na may kaso, hindi ba dapat parang antayin muna ang desisyon ng korte, di ba? Kasi judicial courtesy yan, di ba? Alam mo na magdidesisyon ng korte, bakit mo pangungunahan? Diba? Nasa sa kanila yun kung anong gagawin nila. But May initial resolution ng TRO, denying ang TRO dahil nga daw moot, di ba? Pero sabi namin, nag-motion for reconsideration kami kasi hindi pwedeng moot kasi nga sinelyuhan naman eh. So ang broader issue rito, pwede bang gamitin, no, ng House Committee on Justice ang tax returns, di ba? Pwede ba lang gamitin nang walang consent ng mga taxpayers?
Sir, should the lawmakers decide to open the box sa Wednesday, is this another para opportunity for the camp of Attorney Carpio to challenge again that move sa court if ever lang buksan nila yung
Well,
BIR record?
kung mangyayari na yun, then we will just have to inform the court, no? Kasi may kaso na yan. We'll just inform the court na itong ginawa nila and then let the court decide if whether or not that action of the supposed future action of the House Committee on Justice is constitutive of contempt or not, no?
Sir, sinabi po ni Congressman Joel Suman na yung ginagawa po nilang hearings, including sa pagbukas ng mga salin and bank records ng Vice President and her family, ay hindi po siya fishing expedition. Do you still maintain, or does your camp still maintain, that what the House is doing is already, it can be considered as a fishing expedition or not?
Well, I don't want to comment on the side of VP Sara as the subject of the impeachment. But as for Attorney Mans, siyempre sa amin fishing expedition, di ba? Di ba ang posisyon lang naman ng impeachable officer as Vice President 2022 to 2025, di ba? Pero kung makikita niyo yung tax returns na gusto lang buksan 2006, di ba? Tapos itong gusto lang bank reports 2006 din. So 2006 to 2021, hindi ba fishing expedition 'yon na hindi naman unang-una, hindi naman covered ng term ni BP Sara. Pangalawa, si Attorney Carpio, hindi naman siya politiko. Bakit kailangan mo pang usisahin ng tax returns niya at saka kanyang mga bank transactions, di ba? It's a fishing expedition precisely because of the all-encompassing and malawak na gusto nilang informasyon, di ba? Kung sabi nga nila, sufficient in form and substance na yung complaint, bakit ka pa kailangan kumuha ng ebidensya, di ba? Sabi na okay na yung complaint. Tama na sa form, tama sa substance. Di ba? So bakit meron pa tayong ganito na mga nangyayari na sinasabi na pa yung mga tax returns, sinasabi na pa yung mga bank transactions prior to 2022. Ha? From 2006 to 2022. So a period of around 16 years. Di ba? Hindi ba phishing yon? Kayo sumagot. Di ba? Okay?
Sir.
Ano yun?
You're ready to face the Senate impeachment court kung itatransmute to
I don't think we can properly appear in the impeachment court. Kasi unang-una, hindi naman subject sa impeachment si Attorney Carpio. Diba? Siya ay pribadong individual at ang abogado ni Attorney Carpio at abogado ni VP Sara ay magkaiba naman. So I think we have to respect the different lawyers, no, kay VP Sara, no. I think if you have any questions regarding the impeachment proceedings, they are the best ones to answer that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay? Okay na? Thank you. Ano daw? Ay, yung papel.
Sir, salamat po. Salamat po.